7 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to see if we can get Richard Holtorf on, but we're having some system-wide phone issues, company-wide. The entire Salem companies dealing with some of this stuff. We'll see if it cleans up, and then we can get Richard Holtorf on, the newly elected Vice Chair of the Colorado GOP. Bill, I sat down to watch the State Central Committee meeting.
Oh.
2.5 hours.
Why take that
Of
punishment?
course, I jumped through it. I didn't.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'd say 1 hour, or let's do 2 hours and 15 minutes of it, or debates over parliamentary procedure.
I hated that in student Congress.
In part, it's why I was never elected to anything, because me and procedure, those,
yeah, me too.
Those don't go well together. I just was never one to be like, oh gosh, we really got to follow this, because in part, our radio show is a total rejection procedure.
Yes, it is. It totally rejection of everything we're supposed to do.
You know what we should do? Let's create a conservative talk radio show where we have a more independent-minded person.
Yeah, who's a pain in the ass sometimes. Yes.
And let's just debate stuff all the time.
Yeah, that works out well.
Let's reject the traditional recipe, which is just you get to hear everything you agree with.
Yeah, and the odd thing is even inside of the Salem ecosystem, we've heard feedback that the people higher up the totem pole go,
there is a
"You're
file
doing
about
what?
that.
Where? Yes. Oh, yeah. I have a large file." And they're like, "Wait, that person on that? Wait, hang on." But to their credit, to a T, once they listen, they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it." Yeah. So, yeah. So far, we fooled them. Yay!
So I listened to the speeches. Holtorf gave a speech. Mark Hamilton gave a speech. Mark runs Parker Conservatives. I've spoken a number of times there. Great. I don't get into the back and forths within the family. It's just not. My thing is the radical left. What Jared Polis is doing. What Phil Weiser's doing. How they're destroying the state with this Marxist leftist agenda.
And I appreciate that, because the whole idea is, guys, let's put some points on the board and win some games before we start complaining about how the team is lining up in the formation. Maybe we need to score and have some wins before we start self-critiquing so much. Yeah.
Winning is all that matters. Ted Trimpa gets into that. And that's why I think Ted has been so successful in the state. Is Ted's like, we fight this out after we've won the game.
Yeah, which I think is why you see people like Elizabeth Epps and Timmy Hernandez no longer representing Democrats. Now, part of that is a rejection by voters, but I think that's part of it as well. Yeah. Is the idea of,
you took this out into the public.
Yeah, you did this, everything else fine. You did the weird stuff. But no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that weird stuff. Yeah, we've got some other.
But
we got our own
you saw this in the Hunter Biden interview. He's just.
I was hoping to get touch on that.
Air my grievances, and it's everybody. George Clooney, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris. It was everybody.
Okay, side note. That whole rant on Clooney, did that strike you as weird as it did me when he goes off on that?
I mean, if you read Jake Tapper's book, you know that they desperately tried to stop it.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of pent-up passions there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he basically blames George Clooney for sinking the entire presidency.
And here's the thing, is that there are a couple of things that when I heard Hunter Biden rant and rave about that, the one thing I thought is, well, he hasn't developed any self-awareness. Even after all this, he is still completely and totally self-aware.
Dude, if you're taking selfies with your prostitutes...
Yeah. And
while doing coke, I think you lack self-awareness.
But I would have figured that experience would have given him a little bit more. And the reason that when he ranted about Clooney that I'm like, you have absolutely no self-awareness is because of on two things. There were two planks. First, the idea that Clooney's not the first person to have come across Biden having cognitive difficulties.
Correct.
There were a lot of people around. He was the big person that brought it forward. I have a problem with Hunter saying, he pointed out something that other people knew. Hang on. I'm more mad at the other people around Biden that didn't bring this forward sooner, because we all knew at that time that Clooney came out, Biden was marching directly towards one of the largest election losses in this country's history. And Hunter somehow seems to forget that. Hunter somehow seems to think that he's still running in like 2019 and that Biden is ahead of Trump. Biden never. I have a hard time thinking outside of very early on where Biden was ever ahead of Trump in any sort of a poll, and it kept getting worse, in part because of these cognitive issues. So now Hunter's mad that George Clooney had to be the person that pointed out something that everybody else should have known, and then Hunter starts being petty. Not even a good actor. Not even. Shut up. You know, are you necessarily a good son? If you didn't have that laptop, if you would have been able to make sure you don't get the pictures of you and your drug hose all over the place and you don't leave that laptop somewhere, do you think your dad might have been in a better position? How much space did you, Hunter Biden, give the Republicans during your father's presidency to basically go after and tar and feather him? Again, lack of self-awareness. And he stands there and goes, George Clooney's fault. Shut up. Your father was losing before. Your father would have lost on a stage probably comparable to Mondale and Reagan. This is ridiculous. And he complains about Clooney. It's just, just go away. Just seriously. Well, and that's only part of the interview that I'm pissed about.
Anytime an entity is losing,
yeah,
whether it's a corporation, whether it's a sports team, whether it's a political party here in Colorado or a presidential campaign, it's just everybody doing this.
Yeah, everybody, yeah. And they always talk about that.
You're the reason.
Yeah, that they always talk about the idea that victory is celebrated by everybody, but failure has only a single, parent.
Yeah, it's that, was the saying, victory has 1,000 fathers.
Yeah.
And failure's an orphan.
Yep, exactly. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's kind of what I saw in a lot of capacities.
Oh, heck yeah. And it was a lack of self-awareness as far as what was happening at that time and what was going on. It wasn't as if Kamala Harris thought, oh my God, Biden's going to get a second term. We have to come in and usurp him. No, he was failing on a national stage. And again, we go back to the idea that he comes in and goes, and the staff gave him Ambien. That's why he had the bad debate. The staff should have been smart enough to either manage his drug levels or not have him have a busy schedule the 48 hours beforehand. That's on the staff and how they handled him. It was the drugs. It was everything that led up to that. And the people that around him that knew he was slipping at that time. That's it. Yes. Again, lack of self-awareness. He just wanted to point the finger at everybody else.
Well, we shouldn't be necessarily pointing that out because Bill and I suffer from a lack of personal awareness in a lot of our capacities.
Oh, heck yeah. A lot of that. I got a lot of that.
All right, now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Good Wednesday morning. 69 with clouds in Denver. Spectacular outside. Really is. Take a walk this morning if you get a chance. Expecting a high of 83 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
They're undermining our alliances, cozying up to Russia. What happened to the Republican Party?
No one accuses his opponents of doing exactly what he's doing more than Barry. That's all he did. 2 years after creating the lie, he kept jamming the garbage into the minds of anyone who would listen to him. 47 on Tuesday.
It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they... Look, he's guilty. It's not a question. I like to say let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries.
Director Gabbard comes out with more today.
We will be releasing further documents tomorrow that will refute that statement. And I would go back and point to, and we will be pulling a whole host of statements that were made by the Obama administration, by Hillary Clinton, by senior Democrat officials, by their friends in the media that state over and over again, after this January 2017 manufactured intelligence document was created, acted to aid Trump in the election. Obama's CIA Director John Brennan says there is strong consensus among us to support the CIA claim Russian hackers aided Donald Trump's election. Hillary Clinton said, I would be president if not for the Russian hackers supporting Donald Trump.
And it went on and on and on. The DOJ also working to set up a meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's partner in crime. Maxwell serving a 20-year prison sentence on sex trafficking charges. Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at the age of 76. And when I need to know more about rock legends, I turn to Billy. Billy, what made Ozzy so popular?
Well, part of it is just the blue collar background, and then leaning into what was agony and despair at the time. And based on a text message that we got after our conversation last hour, they did talk about the fact that Jake Lee joins Ozzy between Randy and Zakk Wylde. But I went back and I wanted to make sure that I knew the story of how Zakk ended up joining Ozzy's band and becomes his longest serving guitarist in the band. Basically, he's a teenager. He's about 18, 19 years old. And he had been performing in bars and things. And people are always like, hey, you're really good. You're really good. Then his girlfriend hears on the Howard Stern show that Ozzy Osbourne is looking for a new guitarist. And the girlfriend's like, you got to go try out. You got to go try out. And he's like, no. He's like, you got to go try out. You got to go try out. No. And for whatever reason, somehow Zakk connects with a member of Ozzy's promotional team. And the promotion team's like, yeah, man, I can get you a tryout. Not a problem. Just tell me what. And then so Zack's like, it's like 18, 19 years old, shows up and he's playing. And he plays with Randy Castillo and Phil Susan there. And Ozzy was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And Ozzy gave him a little bit of direction, said, you're thinking this through too much. I want you to play more from your heart and show me what you got. And then Ozzy kind of after Zakk plays a little bit, he goes, well, one thing I need you to do is I need you to change your pants. You're kind of smelly. He goes, but also can you go make me a sandwich? And he goes, Zakk went and made him a sandwich, and after that he was part of the band.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, but again, it's the idea that just because the girlfriend heard it on Howard Stern is like, you should, and Zack's like, no, I can't, because you can't just reach out. He's like, he doesn't know anybody, but then realizes that it's a friend of a friend has a contact with one of Ozzy's promotional group. Wow. And so they arrange that this kid who actually has some serious chops to get an audition in front of Ozzy.
That's amazing.
But yeah, imagine at the age of 18, 19 years old that you're sitting there in front of what is, even at that time, he's a rock legend. Yeah.
Wow.
And you've got
what kind of sandwich do you think?
I want to say
peanut
ham.
Butter and jelly? Ham?
My guess is ham. Yeah.
It is great.
Yeah.
Thanks,
in fact,
Billy.
I'm looking through it. Oh, yeah, it is. It is ham sandwich. Yeah,
really?
It is. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Zakk said, yeah, he made him a ham
What a
sandwich.
story.
I know.
It's so cool. Cheese
Yes.
or no cheese?
I don't know. Didn't say on that one. But you have
so
to figure out that,
cool.
Ozzy at that time is coming out of Sabbath. He's coming after stuff he did with Randy. And so he's established. And to take a risk on this kid at the time. Yeah.
Great story.
Absolutely incredible. Also, if anybody gets a chance and you want to go back and see a video, go back and look for the Black Sabbath tribute concert that happened on July 5th when they were coming back together. But what you're looking for is you want to go and find Jack Black's performance.
Oh,
yes.
wow. I just saw that video.
Yes, go back and see that because he does an amazing cover of a Black Sabbath song, but he's playing with kids. They're kids on the stage with him. And all the kids have a connection to other rock families. In fact, one of the guitarists is Roman Morello, son of Tom Morello out of Rage Against the Machine. So all these kids have some lineage. Yeah, but again, It is a fantastic cover. Do yourself a favor today if you're remembering Ozzy. Go back and trying to find Jack Black's performance on video. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I got to talk to the phones.
All right, we'll talk to Billy next hour on more on the late great Ozzy Osbourne. Governor Polis trashing the idea to build a new pedestrian bridge in downtown.
The numbers are in, and it's an overwhelming no to a proposed bridge that would have connected Civic Center Park to the base of the Capitol building. According to Governor Polis, 94% of the people who responded to a poll about the bridge were against it. 3.8% said they were in favor, and another 2.3% said maybe. The project proposed by the governor drew criticism from numerous groups, including veterans, who say their monuments and memorials would have been desecrated by the project. The bridge would have cost some $20 million, and many called it a waste of money. I'm Nia Bender.
Thanks, Nia. The U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration was apparently breached by this week's hack of Microsoft's SharePoint document management software. That's the agency that maintains and designs the country's nuclear weapons. The breach, reported by Bloomberg on Tuesday, didn't compromise any sensitive classified information. I don't believe that for a second. A former Colorado state senator facing charges after an investigation into fake letters of support submitted during an ethics probe. Former Senator Sonia Jaquez Lewis was charged with attempting to influence a public servant by the Denver District Attorney's Office earlier this month. Lewis resigned from the state Senate in February. You may remember that, while she was under investigation for her treatment of legislative aides. Several letters of support submitted to the Ethics Committee on her behalf were disputed by the people who allegedly signed them. Lewis will be arraigned next month. Coke will soon offer a version made with U.S. cane sugar. You may have heard this. Coca-Cola said the version of the soda announced Tuesday will be available in addition to its traditional recipe using corn syrup this fall. Rockies beat the Cardinals 8-4. Getaway day today at 1:10. First pitch at Coors Field. And it is 66 in Castle Rock, 67 in Littleton, 69 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Your 710 5-day forecast going to be partly cloudy across the Denver metro and front range. Scattered afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. Cooler today in the middle and upper 80s with middle and upper 80s Thursday. Scattered showers and storms through the afternoon and evening tomorrow, then trending isolated Friday with highs lower 90s. Mainly dry this weekend with sunshine, highs mid-90s. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691 or visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. Meteorologist Don Watzel in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Let's talk Mountain High Appliance and their huge summer clearance blowout sale at all their locations, including their Denver Clearance Center. Check out their display models, closeouts, and scratch and dents from brands like GE, LG, Bosch, and more. Enjoy their special financing options and price match guarantee. Experience the difference today. When you think appliances, think locally owned Mountain High Appliance. Well, we were hoping to have Richard Holtorf, new vice chair of the Colorado Republican Party, with us. And when I text him, he goes, anything for the Jeff and Bill Show. I always appreciated that about him.
That is, but our phone lines disagree.
Yeah, and it's a company-wide issue. So,
and we tried several different ways. No, didn't. We didn't do it on the air this time. They did it back end. And Richard was great as far as, I'll try this. We'll try this. We'll try this. And yeah, no, didn't work. So
yep. So we'll maybe postpone those and get them tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be great.
As this technology, newfangled technology called a phone line, gets worked out. It's only 2025. It's because they went over to all these like fancy tech We did this with our home line too.
Yeah.
This VoIP.
Oh yeah, VoIP, voice over internet.
And it's half the time it never works.
Yeah, because again, it's like, you ever have that time in which you're trying to load a video or something like that. And it's like buffering, or it's
yes,
thinking,
exactly.
That's your phone line.
That's now your phone line.
Yep,
so we as a society figured out hard lines and made them work really well. I mean, incredibly well, very clear, very consistent. And then we're like, you know what? Let's just put it all on the same thing that we watch our YouTube on.
Yeah, and then increase the traffic so that everything slows down. That's the kicker. Like if you're around your house in the mornings or the evenings, and all of a sudden you're like, like other times of the day, my internet's working fine, and then it's slowing down around morning or evening time, it's because everybody else in your area is using it. So it literally is, it's like getting into traffic on I-25 or 225 or 70. Same thing when everybody's in there trying to stream the TikToks. Yeah, it's going to slow down the bandwidth.
Mr. Vice Chairman, really appreciate your effort. Thank you for always being willing to do whatever it takes to be with the Jeff and Bill Show. Unfortunately, the phone line's not working. But we're going to talk Hunter Biden at this point, because he had an interesting interview. This is not from a conservative outlet. This is from the Huffington Post. Hunter Biden rips George Clooney, Pod Save America, in a 3-hour expletive-laden interview. Well, F him and everybody around him, said Joe Biden's son as he tore into the Democrat Party's elite over efforts to knock his father from the presidential race. In fact, we have some audio. We have some audio of Hunter Biden and this interview about George Clooney. Remember when they were all together and they all loved each other and you had all the famous people up on stage and they were record fundraising coming in for Joe Biden and all the pretty people were behind Joe? Well, my goodness, how far they have fallen. Can we play some of the George Clooney audio?
I don't know which one is which on these ones.
Let
me
see
which.
We'll do but hang on audio.
Hang on a sec here. Let me see. I'm kind of guessing on which is which as far as titles. I'm still running through them. Give me a second here as everything goes up. Let's try this. Here we go. I think I've got the one you're looking for. Let's try it now.
Life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
When he does all of those expletives and then goes, God bless him.
Yeah. And again, the whole comment about the Tarantino thing to me is petty because that's an ad hominem attack that doesn't deal with the issue he's talking about.
Oh, I mean, the whole thing is an ad hominem.
Yeah, and then we deal with that all the time where it's the idea of, okay, I disagree with what you're saying, but your shirt's ugly and you have a bad haircut. Doesn't change the point. He doesn't argue in that entire rant. Does he say that George Clooney was wrong about his dad?
Oh, no.
No, never does.
Because why would he want to admit that?
Yeah, just that he's mad because George is the one that spoke up, despite everybody else around him.
Spoke up in a very public way. And it's important to remember, too, though, I think George tried to do this quietly.
Yeah.
I think the New York Times became the last effort. And in George's mind, especially if you read Jake Tapper's recollection of it, George was trying to stop Donald Trump. That became the ultimate motivation. I don't friendships, all that stuff. At this point, you keep Joe Biden in this race, we're going to lose so big. It's going to be embarrassing. I am going to have to write that piece in the New York Times.
And the other part that kind of that gets me is, as you're talking about that, if it is down to a wealthy Hollywood actor to take out an op-ed in the New York Times to publicly express what a lot of other people have been seeing behind the scenes, that's on you and your dad's staff, Hunter. Though there are people around him that it was their responsibility to make sure that he was okay and he was set up for this next presidential run. We could see where the polling numbers were. It's not as if, again, we talked about it earlier, it's not as if Biden had a lead and Clooney came out and tanked him. And Biden was way behind and getting further behind.
To the point you have brought up, that he promised to be a transitional candidate.
Yeah.
So they walked away from that promise.
Yeah. And to me, there are a couple of things. I always talk about, for me, biggest sin in Barack Obama's presidency is what he allowed to happen in Crimea. That's a huge sin that had ramifications much, much further down the road. And we're dealing with some of those now. Biden, his sin to me is the transitional president. That's his largest sin because he said, this is what I'm going to do, and then decided to continue it. And it's in my mind, and I can be wrong, and I can be persuaded I'm wrong, but in my mind, it's because Biden refused to be that transitional president that we get the second Donald Trump presidency, because Biden did not pass the torch. Biden did not set up a successor. The Democrat Party didn't go through any sort of an idea of a choice. They did anoint Kamala, but again, I'm not going to fault them for that because of the situation they were in at the time. But they wouldn't have been in that situation if Biden would have been a transitional president. And if you would have had some sort of a Democrat contest at that point, then you could have also competed for time against the Republicans. You could have sucked some of the air out of the room, in my opinion, from Donald Trump and the other people that were running. You could have had something else going on that would have counterbalanced that rather than allowing the Republicans to set the narrative on sleepy old Joe Biden. That's the problem. And Hunter refuses to acknowledge it, but instead drops a bunch of F-bombs making fun of a Hollywood actor who is the only person in the room that had the stones to stand up and say this publicly. And not just publicly, but in the damn New York Times in an op-ed. Nobody else around Biden had the stones to do that. Yet Hunter thinks he's a weasel.
And what makes this news in part is Democrats don't often do this. So Republicans are notorious
all the time.
Taking everything into
Chip
the public
Roy, anybody?
square.
Yeah.
Right.
He's good at it.
They just take it all out there. They fight in public. You go to you go to a pro-life meeting, and it is you're not pro-life enough. You're too squishy. You're willing to compromise. We just fight all out in public. What's kind of refreshing is to know Democrat, and everybody knows this. Democrats do it. They just do it behind the closed doors.
Oh yeah, all the time.
There's a political piece out about the Colorado model where they interviewed Ted Trimpa, and Ted's like, well, we just win. We win first. That's the only thing that matters is winning, stopping Republicans. And then we hash it all out. And who's going to be this and which policies. But we just focus it. And it would be nice if Republicans took a little bit of that type of cue of winning first as opposed to fighting first. But should we try Joan?
Yeah, let's see what happens. And Joan, we're going to let you know that the phone's kind of a little weird and clipping and stuff, and it's totally on our end, not yours. So let's see what happens. I know Joan was at the meeting for
State
Richard
Central
Holtorf.
Committee meeting to elect Richard Holtorf as the new vice chair. Joan, good morning. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I was on that interminable meeting. It took way too long, and then the fact that they wanted to do a second meeting afterwards, I thought was very interesting. I'm not sure why we had to have two meetings and couldn't continue one meeting over the other. The part that was interesting is Holtorf won. He won by 10 votes, and I think it was kind of a repeat of what happened with Britta. And I think that it's going to be an interesting meeting on the 27th of September.
That's the next one. And Joan, unfortunately, the line problems continue over here. So we'll have to let you go. But I appreciate you giving us a little bit of insight. Yeah, it was two and a half hours, and 2 hours of it was parliamentary procedure debates, kind of point of order, clarification on rules, and I guess the credentialing took forever. So,
okay, now just
that's why not. I just
again it's those type of minutia things that really piss me off in those meetings. Because who are you people that is really? I get it, but you're object because we didn't call the order this way, and this isn't a quorum. Shut up. Can we get to the meat of what we're supposed to be doing first? That if we are arguing about the shade of the curtains we are going to hang in the office, and we're not focused on winning the office, we're focused on the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. And when I hear about hours-long debates over rules and procedures, I feel that you might be focusing on the wrong stuff. Is that really the reason why, or the best way to make sure that we choose the right leaders? It's annoying. It's annoying.
Jason in Denver texting in, next, Hunter's going to blame Bo for passing away as the reason Hunter decided to get his sister-in-law addicted to crack.
Yes. That's
Hunter is a class act.
I can't believe that he goes scorched earth on George, and the whole thing about the Tarantino. And George Clooney is a brand, and I think that Tarantino is accurate about that, because when you put George Clooney in a movie, it is new movie with George Clooney.
Yes.
It's not the movie doesn't take center stage. The same thing happens with Tom Cruise. I have a problem seeing movies with Tom Cruise and George Clooney, because I see Tom Cruise and George Clooney with a bunch of other people playing pretend. I can't get into the character anymore. And that's a fair critique. It's a brand. Okay. It doesn't mean they can't tell the story and be okay there, and that's fine. But I don't have that suspension of disbelief I have with other actors. Okay,
somebody pointed out to me that Tom Cruise plays the same character in every movie, and I cannot unsee it.
Yeah, pretty much. After
it's Maverick and everything, whether it's Mission Impossible or Jack Reacher.
Yeah, after his early career. I think there are somewhere he stretches it. I think Risky Business, he's a little bit outside of what he does in the
Vanilla
Maverick.
Sky a little bit.
Yeah, Vanilla Sky. The other one is Far and Away. Not necessarily the Maverick character, the one he did with Nicole Kidman, where he has a really bad Irish accent. But interesting movie. Yeah, not necessarily the same Maverick
every
character.
other one, the billion-dollar box office ones, it's all the same guy.
It's all the same character. Yeah, it's always the same character.
All right.
Yes.
Let's talk Dan Caplis and Dan Caplis Law. If you've been injured in a car accident or any other type of injury case, you want somebody involved in the case that shares your values and has a strong 40-year reputation of getting justice for people hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Listen to this courtroom record. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Caplis Law, the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S, law.com. Phone struggling, but the text message line wide open for you to join the conversation. 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Wake up, Denver. There's no better place to start your morning than IHOP, where the pancakes are fluffy, the coffee is hot, and the smiles are endless. Wednesday, August 27th, join Jeff and Bill as they broadcast their show live from IHOP at 1595 South Colorado Boulevard in Denver. You're officially invited to be part of the excitement. Come grab your favorite breakfast and watch the Jeff and Bill Show in action from 6 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to try the special Jeff and Bill breakfast, pancakes, any style eggs, and crispy bacon, all for just $7.10. It's a deal as good as their hot takes. All they need is you. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and kick off your day with great food and great conversation. See you Wednesday, August 27th at IHOP.
him and everybody around him. I don't have to be nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney is not a actor. He is a like, I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. You, what do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times?
That's Hunter Biden on a 3-hour expletive-laden podcast about what
3 hours
the Democrats did to his dad, and he doesn't take any responsibility.
It was him celebrating Festivus. It was the airing of the grievances.
Can I just point out, just a reminder, we had his laptop prior to the 2020 election.
Yeah,
his laptop.
Yeah,
and the FBI knew that it was his laptop, and the same little intelligence people that concocted the 2016 Russia collusion. Also in 2020,
but that's okay.
Oh, they concocted.
No, they didn't.
We're about to watch this whole debate.
It's been that was proven that they have the receipts.
They talked to him and they shared polling data. What a collusion!
No, but not legally collusion, but they have the receipts on the movements and the disinformation campaigns by the Russians through social media. Was the election hacked? No, never was.
It was not hacked.
No, but
there was no collusion.
Did Russia try to influence?
For 2 years, these... I don't want to go down this path because we're going to end up you and I debating for the next 30 minutes about
But they did work together on it. Yeah, that's been proven, and that's settled.
They shared polling data. But they hardly working together.
They coordinated and talked to each other. Yes, and here's the idea. If Joe Biden had been talking to the Russians or the Chinese about sharing information during his election cycle, you better believe that Jim Jordan and James Comer would be like, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Just like the whole Biden crime family. You better believe. We'd have meetings. Now you're starting to actually see what the Biden family's all about and how they operate. And we knew this in 2020, and they hit it. No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. They came out with that stupid little, this is Russian disinformation.
Again,
and the FBI at that point did know that this was Hunter's laptop.
The laptop information was sequestered for about 48 hours. It was out before the election. And in fact, I would argue that because it was sequestered, it made it more important. But the bottom line is this. Hang on. Bottom line is the voters had access to the information before the vote.
No, they didn't, because if you posted it on X, your account got suspended.
No, it didn't matter. That was only 48 hours. It was released before the election was done.
They shut down the New York Post from trying to even report on it.
Not what I'm saying. It was sequestered for about 48 hours. After that, it was public knowledge. It was public knowledge before the vote. Done. That's it. So the complaint that nobody knew about it is incorrect.
You're ignoring the fact that, 51 intelligence agency heads came out with the letter that said that this was Russian disinformation when it wasn't, and the FBI at that point knew it wasn't?
That's part of it as far as the timeline, as far as did they know per se, as far as be able to stake put a stake it and say we know this absolutely, especially since we know that, I don't know, Rudy Giuliani, someone that was a lawyer working inside the Trump campaign at the time, was communicating with Russian intelligence at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want me to play the audio
Bill,
from it?
You will literally obfuscate in every capacity. All I'm pointing out, I don't want to go down these big roads of debate.
I'm not obfuscating.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
The point being, this is the guy. These are the types of guys that Jim Clapper and the rest of them all tried to cover for. But let's play some of the other audio from this discussion. Which one do you want to do? We got a few.
I don't know. You got to tell me which one first.
You want to do? Let's do Carville. He's going to bring up some audio on Carville.
Hang on, has to load. That's a little dancing music there. Okay. I think we're good on this one. Here it is.
And James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior speechwriters on Barack Obama's Senate staff who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40-50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times, how to pass more legislation than any president in history, how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
Not to mention...
Who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper...
My mom or something? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
For real, though. I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to after he put the book out. They did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with.
Do you think he's right?
No, I think he's got, and also I think he lacks a lot of self-awareness. And because, again, let's go back to earlier in the conversation there, where he complains about these people, especially, Pod Save America guys. Oh, these minor level guys that are hanging on, that are making their... Do you understand, Hunter? The only reason you have a career is because of your last name. The only reason. You think people would be buying your art?
Right.
You think someone would be buying your art if your last name wasn't
He's out
Biden?
there with the machine gun going, everybody is riding the coattails of other people.
You think you had that consulting business about helping people navigate government contracts and getting, like lobbyists connected with powerful people in Washington? Do you think that happened just because you're just such a cool, neato kind of guy? No, it's because of your last name. Do you think that anybody else that was out there would have faced the same type of law enforcement for either the drug charge or the gun charges? No, other people would be in prison. But
this
no.
all confirms what Republicans were saying forever about Hunter Biden, that this was all a scheme along with Joe's brother to get money in. Nobody cared what Hunter Biden had to say about anything. It was all about influencing the dad.
It's all about rich kids. This is rich kid stuff. It's the same reason that people talk to Jared Kushner. It's the same reason. It's the same reason that you honestly have Don Jr. and Eric running Trump org. As if their resumes would have bubbled up to the top of the surface. If you were taking names off of resumes, their resumes don't hit the top 50. But they get to run the company because of their last name. This is how rich kids operate.
I don't
over
even put
and
them
over
in the
and over again.
same universe, because with Don Jr., with Eric, with Jared, you actually have talent. With Hunter, you have a cracked up, drug addicted, prostitute hiring sleaze bag.
Until his father-in-law was in the president's office, Jared's investments in real estate were absolutely trash, more times than not. But now he's got a pile of money. He's got billions. That's weird.
All right, join the conversation via text, because our phones are having some issues today. 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Hunter Biden ripping George Clooney, Pod Save America, in a 3-hour expletive-laden interview. Even tries to explain what was happening to his dad during that debate. It's not Joe's fault. No, the people around him were drugging him with Ambien. What? Of course, this is not Joe's fault. Let's play this audio, Bill.
He's 81 years old. He's tired as shit. They give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage, and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights. And it feeds into every story that anybody wants to tell. And Jake Tapper, with literally how many anonymous sources. If this was a conspiracy, Andrew, you know this, somehow the entirety of a White House in which you literally living on top of each other has kept their mouth shut about, like what? And what's conspiracy?
Yeah.
That Joe Biden got old? Yeah, he got old. He got old before our eyes.
The conspiracy is that the president of the United States, duly elected by the people, wasn't acting as the president of the United States. That you had other people around. That's the conspiracy.
Yeah,
at least
that's the conspiracy.
From the conservative, and I think they're going to be exactly right on this one.
I doubt it. I doubt they're going to have it because they've done so well uncovering the Biden crime family and the stolen 2020 election.
Everything we say comes true on this stuff.
Not at all. What?
Yes.
What has come true?
What, the laptop was true. Right?
But the laptop didn't show Joe Biden crime family.
No, but we said that this was Hunter's laptop, and then you had 51 or 56 or whatever intelligence chiefs run out there go, this was Russian disinformation. It wasn't.
Okay,
they were
what else?
lying.
Okay,
we were exactly right.
What's the next one?
That Hunter Biden was a pony or whatever, Ponzi, for funneling money into the family to influence Joe Biden.
That hasn't been proven.
100%.
No, it hasn't. No,
Bill,
it hasn't.
You literally just talked about how he got money because he's Joe Biden's son.
Yes, yeah, but that's different than to influence Joe Biden's decision making. That's different. That's a different thing, and that's. And hang on a sec.
Hold on.
Yeah,
they just gave Hunter Biden money because they like him.
No, because he has access and because he knows how to navigate that. What you need to show me is this. Nope, and this is what we went back to. And this is where both Jim Jordan and James Comer failed in their task to show the Joe Biden crime family. It is the direct influence. What they can't show is that Joe Biden changed or advocated for a position based on Hunter's clients and based on money that changed hands. They can't show that. That's what you need to show. You need to show that as far as influence. Just the idea that the kid got a lot of money, so obviously something's dirty. If that's the conclusion, then I can say, then Jared Kushner got $2 billion from the Saudis in his investment fund. Does that mean that Donald Trump's dirty and the Saudis are controlling him? No, it doesn't. Same thing with Hunter Biden. Same thing.
I love the idea that they just gave this guy money for access to nothing. Like you literally drive the car off the bridge.
No, it's not access to nothing. I mean,
right?
He would of course be able to. He would of course, because of his last name, he can pick up the phone and people will respond to him.
And they never asked him to do that.
And they do. Hang on a sec. That's different than changing what Joe Biden's doing. That's different.
I don't think it is.
Yes, it is.
That's
yes,
influence.
It is. No.
In your rationale, in your reasoning, that money just went out there.
Nope, not at all. What I'm asking for is show me where the money caused a change in a
Conservatives
policy.
have been always
They're
right
wrong.
about
No, you're
this
wrong.
stuff.
You're
and
wrong.
Now
You're wrong.
You're seeing
wrong.
it again.
You're wrong
You're listening
over and over
to
again.
The Jeff and Bill Show.
Wrong and wrong again. This is 710 KNUS.